you got to make sure that you're checking as many of the high level boxes as you can. Okay, what do I mean by high level boxes? So typically when we're screening resumes, we're skimming for certain things, right? We're skimming for the markers that we're looking for. So primarily I would say there's four things. Hey guys, if you like the content in this episode today, I want you to go and click the subscribe button to make sure that you get all of our future episodes as well, because we've been putting out 2 to 3 episodes every single week with really, really useful recruiting tips for the investment banking recruiting process. It's going to help you land that job at a top investment bank. Okay, so I want to make sure that you don't miss any of our content. Today, I want to talk about the secret to the investment banking the secret to the investment banking resume selection process. Okay, now a lot of you spend a lot of time working on your resume, I'm sure, because you want that perfect resume to make a great first impression when you're applying to these investment banking jobs, right? But a lot of you, for whatever reason, once you apply, actually don't end up hearing back, right? And people always ask, like, well, what exactly is wrong with my resume? So I want to let you in on a little secret that a lot of people don't know, because I used to help screen resumes back when I was in investment banking and in private equity, right? I was on the on-campus recruiting team and kind of was the first filter for who we wanted to interview and who we didn't want to interview, right? And so one thing that you may or may not know is that investment bankers spend very, very little time looking at your resume. What do I mean by that? So there's a statistic out there that you might have heard of that says that recruiters on average spend 6 seconds or less on a resume, right? Investment bankers, I would say, definitely spend probably 6 seconds or less on each resume because, at least in my own experience, I did, because we are just super busy, you know? And also we get a lot of resumes, right? Usually if you're applying to an investment banking job, they have, hundreds if not thousands of applicants, right? And so when we get the stack of resumes that we have to go through, that's on top of, our day job, which is, in my case, I was an analyst and I had a lot of work to do, right? And so we're not going to be sitting there spending, 5-10 minutes reading every single resume, every single bullet point that you carefully crafted. That's not really how it works. At the end of the day, it all comes down to one thing, which is first impression. Okay, so what does that mean exactly for you, though, in terms of the implications? Well, first, you got to make sure that you're checking as many of the high-level boxes as you can. Okay, what do I mean by high-level boxes? So typically when we're screening resumes, we're skimming for certain things, right? We're skimming for the markers that we're looking for. So primarily I would say there's 4 things. What school do you go to? Is it a good school? What is your GPA? How high is it? Where have you worked before? And by where have you worked before, I'm probably just looking at the name of the companies you've worked at and also, your title, right? And then your extracurricular activities, again, which on-campus organizations are you a part of, and do you have any leadership positions in those organizations, right? And so those are like the high-level boxes. So typically, like if you check all 4 of those boxes, your chances of going in the yes pile is pretty good, okay? So that's the first thing. If you don't check all 4 of those boxes, it's okay, but, it's going to be a little bit weaker. It's going to be a little bit harder for you to get selected, but you just want to check as many boxes as you can. Like I said, if you check 3 out of 4, it's not the end of the world, right? Like if you go to a non-target school, you probably want to do everything within your power to make sure that your GPA is really, really good, right? Not saying that you can't get in from a non-target school with a lower GPA. I have seen it happen. Some of our clients have been able to do that, but in that instance, then it's 2 strikes against you, right? And so that's the first thing. The second thing is, in terms of first impression, formatting is crucial, okay? Formatting, what do I mean by that is 2 different people with the exact same resume, the exact same set of experiences can have very different looking, 2 very different looking resumes, right? Even though they have all the same experiences, right? Why is that? Because they format it differently, right? Does your resume look clean? Is it easy to read? Is everything aesthetically pleasing, right? Do you put things kind of like where they're expected? Like going back to my point earlier, if I'm only spending 6 seconds on your resume, I'm looking for certain markers. Do you put those things in the places that I would expect to see them? Because if you don't, I might miss it when I'm skimming it. And if I miss it, then it's too bad for you, right? So that's another part of formatting. And also, this one is really, really important. I see this is probably one of the most common mistakes that I see from students is the utilization of space, right? The utilization of space on your resume. You essentially have one page to put your best foot forward and present yourself in the best light possible. And if you send me a resume that's like half empty or a third of it is empty, it's all just white space, like what is that? What impression is that going to give off, right? That's going to tell me that, oh, this person hasn't done that much. He couldn't even fill up an entire page, right? At the same time, like if your resume is like super packed and hard to read, like it's going to make my eyes hurt, and I'm probably just not going to want to even look at it, and I'm just going to throw it away. I'm going to put it in a no pile, right? And so utilization of space is very, very important, and that goes down to even like, how do you craft your bullet points? And, a lot of people, they make the silly mistake of having an entire row plus like one straggler word on the next line, and they got all this white space, right? You don't want to do that, okay? So that's the second thing, is formatting. And then the last thing is like, again, staying on the aesthetics point, like use the right font, right? Like use the correct font size. And also, like, I would stay somewhere between 8 to 12. 10 is probably ideal, but if you have a lot of stuff and you got to go down to 8, that's fine. If you got to go up to, if you don't have enough stuff to put on your resume, you want to go up to 12 to fill up the space, I think that's still acceptable, right? And then also the font type itself, right? Like use something conservative, use something professional, use something like boring even, okay? Like Times New Roman, or some people use Arial, or my personal favorite is actually Garamond. I highly recommend Garamond. A lot of our clients that use our template all use Garamond, and they've gotten a lot of compliments for it, right? So anyway, those are just a few tips for you on the resume side. Like, I cannot emphasize enough just how important it is to make sure that your resume looks good, so that it's making the right first impression. Like, of course, the substance is really important. You got to have stuff to put on your resume, but that's a whole other training that I'll do on a different day. But regardless of what the substance is, though, the packaging matters, okay? How you market yourself matters. And you got to make sure that, if you're the product, like, you got to make sure the storefront looks good. If the storefront looks like crap, no one's going to want to come to the store, right? No one's going to be interested in even seeing what's inside, or if they even want to buy, right? They're not going to do that. So anyway, that'll be it for today. Hopefully this helped you guys, and stay tuned for more of these tips in the future. All right, thanks. Bye. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're looking for more customized advice that's tailored for your specific situation, then I invite you to book a free strategy session with our team at the link below. We'll talk to you soon.